Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dave TV for the 25th of August. Only, how many? Let's see, we have September, October, November, December. 4 more months till Christmas. 4 more months, so you better start getting that Christmas shopping going. And I'm waiting for Wash any moment to start playing those holiday tunes. Never can be too early. So how y'all doing, everybody? I'm Dave, and we're on the laptop today. We're going to wander over here to the AM radio. Remember the AM band? The AM band. The AM band. Anyhow, here's the AM band. Here's 1190. This is the strongest radio station I get right here.
After being held for almost 2 years in Syria.
Well, lots to discuss here, Chindel. Obviously,
It's Radio China International, strongest station here in Wild West Fairfax, because the transmitters are transmitter towers are right there by Dan Snyder's Redskins training park there in Ashburn. You can see them. Killer signal, at least during the day. It's the old wage. Remember, Leesburg once had a radio station. And, of course, the FCC said, Leesburg doesn't need a radio station. Loudoun County doesn't need a radio station. Just let them move the transmitter over there to Redskins Park, and we'll let them do whatever they want with it. But anyhow, what I brought over here is 1120 WUST, longtime ethnic station here in Washington. What? Off the air. This station has been around for years and years. And, of course, they're co-owned there with 1190 there. And then if you flip over to, this is a slow radio, isn't it? 1390. What's up with 1390? Solar flare material there, huh? Well, apparently the two stations, 1390 and 1120, both share a transmitter tower there in Falls Church. Crimmins Lane is what it's called, and apparently they've been evicted because Crimmins Lane is going to soon be new houses. And I guess the owner of the property figured it's, rather than have a lease for radio stations, it's cheaper. It's going to be making more. Yeah, that's a good area. That's a high, close-in area there. It's probably real estate values are very high there. It's right near McLean, so I would imagine they're going to do North Arlington, going to be a high-profile real estate area. So the towers, the transmitter site is gone. They're supposed to be moving over to the JFK AM site, 1580, over there in Morningside, Maryland, which is on the southeast side of D.C. But I don't know, either that, whatever's going on. Apparently, both signals are off at the moment. But so 1120 runs ethnic programming. At 1390, which is the old WEAM. Remember when Washington had that cool top 40 station back in the 60s and 70s, WEAM? That was the old 1390. That was where they were. But lately that station's been running Radio Russia, which you can also hear on the fine HD2 signal of WTOP. So, but apparently some people have said when the 1390's been on the air lately, it hasn't been running Radio Russia. It's been running a Spanish signal, so I don't know. Maybe the Radio Russia contract is gone, but what will we do without Radio Russia on 1390, right? All right, folks. What am I wearing today? Camo pants. There you go. More of the camo cutoffs. Yeah, baby. I like these external pockets. I really do, because I can stuff them full of my gloves and all that stuff and whatever I need. I love it. I love it, baby. I love it. Oh, so anyhow, today's Washington Post. Interesting. Look at the front page there. The entire front page is a picture of Brad Paisley. The entire front page. Then if you go to page 3, inside here, boy, there's a teeny tiny little article about Arch Campbell leaving Channel 7. He's only been in the Washington media market for 14 years. And it's like 1, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs of Arch leaving, okay? And this is what? He made the announcement exclusively on DCRTV, by the way, in which the Post does mention. I do have to give them credit. They say the news was reported by DCRTV, quote, comma, the internet forum focused on area broadcasting. So at least they gave me some credit there, which is more than you'd expect from Paul Farry. Yeah, that was Emily Heil. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah, I can see, I can understand what, here's the story. They probably wrote a lot more, but the editor said, you know what, we don't have any room in the paper to run it. I mean, this paper is just so booked up. We don't have any room. We have to run this giant picture of Brad Paisley on the cover. There's just no room for an article about some TV dude celebrating 40 years in the market and leaving. You know, there's just no room for it. So I don't know, man. I penned a really interesting little commentary about the Post on my Facebook page. It's also on the DCRTV mailbag on Sunday, so check that out. I just basically said the paper's really going downhill fast, the print edition, and, you know, it's sad. It's sad. You know, and again, it's the excuse, you know, why do you run giant picture? I mean, once in a blue moon, a giant picture of some spectacular thing, you know, if a comet explodes over Bethesda or something and rains down all these, you know, shards of glorious burning stuff, and you've got a picture of that. I could see running a big full color picture of that. But, you know, this is kind of silly. It's just basically we don't have any copy to fill the space. You know, and then again, you look here, and the Brad Paisley article continues with another big picture. You know, it's just, and it's a long article. And if you're not interested in Brad Paisley, then about 50% of the editorial content in the style section is worthless to you. Now, I don't care about Brad Paisley. I don't know, man. Something's wrong with that paper. Okay, why waste newsprint? If you don't have enough news to fill the paper, then shrink the paper. Maybe turn it into a tabloid and have 2 or 3 tabloid pages of stale style, you know? I don't know, man. Bezos, what's he going to do? You know, he's kind of a nut job, so what the hell? New version of WNST. I mean, I look at the radio ratings, and I never see WNST even listed anymore. You know, WNST is this little sports talker in Baltimore on 1570. It's run by an interesting little guy, big guy. I don't know how big. He's tall. I don't. He's a nice guy. I like Nestor. I've emailed him many times, and he's commented for me when I write stuff for Press Box. He'll always give me some quotes, and he's a nice guy. I do like Nestor. He's colorful. And I do like the fact that this is a locally owned station. You see hardly any locally owned stations anymore, particularly on the commercial side of things. He's a throwback to the olden days of here's a real locally owned station, and the guy who owns it is actually there every day running it. So I think that's kind of cool, you know. Even though you can't hear it down here in Northern Virginia, but I mean, I can if I really go out in the wilds of the woods there and crank up the signal to 1570. So anyhow, he makes a big announcement that he's basically getting rid of almost all of his air staff. Drew Forrester, Glenn Clark, Ryan Paul Kolpke, the general manager, Koppelke. Anyhow, but, you know, he's basically getting rid of the air staff. And he's still going to do his afternoon show. So what's the station going to sound like next week? You know, when he unveils you know, I mean, I guess, you know, it's just an economic thing. How do you compete? You know, you got 2 sports talkers already in Baltimore, which is a relatively mid-sized market. You know, you got 105.7, The Fan, CBS, and you also got their sister station, ESPN 1300. And I'm not ESPN, excuse me, CBS Sports Radio 1300. But there's room. There's room for ESPN radio. There's room for Fox. I think NST does some Fox programming and stuff like that. So you can just plug into the network and maybe do an morning and afternoon show and plug into the network for their stay. And plus, the other thing with Nestor is that he's heavy on his WNST.net website. You know, always says that the radio station is almost an afterthought these days. You know, it's the website where he gets his gravitas. So I don't know. We'll see. How much longer Nestor can keep WNST running as a viable radio station, I don't know. I imagine it's a tough job. I really do. But we'll see. You know, I don't know. But interesting to see what's going on there. What other big news do we have? The Washington Post bans Redskins from editorials. You know, I can understand people who don't like the term Redskins and find it offensive, and I really understand that. And I would not argue with Dan Snyder if he wanted to change the name of the team. I think the Washington Red Machine is the best choice. I really do, because it keeps red in the team, and that kind of gives it that heritage. And then it takes rid of skins and makes it machine, so you don't have any more of the racist whatever connotations. I think the Washington Red Machine is probably the best way to go. And, just change the logo from an Indian to, a computer chip or a gear or something like that. And just call them the Washington Red Machine. And that's it. That's problem solved. You have some heritage linked there because there's still red in the name. And that's it. The Red Machine. Easy decision, you know. I mean, yeah, the Soviet national hockey team is called the Red Machine, the Russian national hockey team. But so what? So it's got a few commie things in it, you know. And then we'll start getting all the, oh, this communist Red Machine, the Reds. But anyhow, that's what I think they should do. But I think, here's the Washington Post. And I listened to WMAL this morning, and I did agree with them. It's an arrogant move by the Washington Post. We're trying to, newspapers really ought to stay out of making policy. They ought to report the news, not make the news. And the Washington Post is just desperately trying to make news with, basically on Friday saying we're not going to use the term Redskins on our editorials anymore. They're still going to, well, here's the hypocritical thing. Even though it's such a racially offensive term, they're still going to use the term elsewhere in the paper. So on the front page, if the Redskins win, or in the sports section, it's going to be Redskins, 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 but we're not going to allow it on the editorial page. That's bullshit. If you're against the name, you take it out of the whole paper. Or it's a racist and insulting name. We're only going to take it out of one tiny little section of the paper, but it's going to be all over the rest of the paper. I mean, you make a decision. You either say it's a heritage name. It doesn't really offend most people. We're just going to keep reporting it as we have, and we're not going to get into making decisions about news items. We're going to just report, it's got a heritage. It's been in the market for 70 years, blah, blah, blah. Now we're just going to continue running it. Or you say we're going to ban it from the print because it's whatever, from the paper because it's biased. We don't like it. Times have changed. But you don't do this half-assed thing where you say we're going to take it out of the editorial page and leave it in the rest of the paper. I mean, that's what is so infuriating about the Washington Post. What a lame little weaselly paper it's become. Catherine Weymouth, get rid of her. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's a nap. The first thing Bezos should have done is said, bye-bye, Katie. Oi, Gewalt. That's her name, Catherine Weymouth, right? Yeah. And man, that Marty Barron, I don't know, man. This ain't Boston. This is Washington. You don't know what you're doing. I don't know, man. I mean, there's still some shades of glory in the Washington Post. I look at the main news section, and it's still got some cool stuff. They still do some great national and international reporting, but and some of the sports people are pretty cool, but man, the paper is just a mess. It really is, and I don't think they realize how bad the reputation is getting among Washington news readers. A lot of people are really angry at it, and it's just, I don't know. Do they realize that? I don't know. Anyhow, thanks for watching Dave TV on this 25th of August, 2014. As Bill Lord would say in his last days there over at WJLA, book 'em Dano.